All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Lightning Thunderbolt here. We're back with the final IGN video on Sonic Frontiers. They said it was all month of June, so I think this is the last one. That's what my friend Konik had told me about. If there's any more news on Sonic Frontiers, we'll cover it, but this will probably be the last, this will likely be the last analysis of the Frontiers info for a while. We'll like to get into more gameplay after this, especially since we've completed the series on Sonic Origins. Been wanting to get back to Sonic Adventure, so we'll probably do that next, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, we're just going to do a quick analysis because they finally talked a little bit about cyberspace. This is a more casual video, as they had said, so we're just going to do a quick analysis of it and see if there's anything we can pick up from this.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Mitchell Saltzman here with our very last feature.
And okay, so Mitchell Saltzman, just want to say, like, you know, he's I think been the one who's doing giving us the information from IGN so far. We've given him a hard time here and there, but I think overall he's actually done pretty well, and I think his analysis of what he's seen and what he's remembered has been very fair so far after the first watch through of this video. So I think there was a lot of information to. It seemed like very balanced with what he was saying. So I'll continue let him speak next.
For IGN first, featuring Sonic Frontiers, and this one's going to be a little looser, a little more casual.
Makes sense.
I've played 4 hours of Sonic Frontiers at this point, and now that all the embargoes are up and I'm able to talk about everything unrestricted, I wanted to answer some questions based on the 4 hours I played. So let's hit that.
So it's like 4 hours. He's gonna also talk about how it's been a while. Like, he played an older build in May. He's like, this might not be up to date with what we've seen so far, but he's just giving us his impressions so far, and all of it seems relatively fair, I'd say. So it'll be presented in this next segment here.
That title card, and we'll jump right into it. Before we start proper, though, I've got to give a bit of a fair warning. It's been more than a month since I had my last play session with Sonic Frontiers.
Right, see, so like I was saying right there, he's saying, it's been a while since I've played it, and new information has arisen, so just, take this for what it's worth, is basically what he's saying. He's like, he's trying to give, like, the best analysis possible based on, like, older information and what he remembers, essentially. Which is fine. That's completely fair.
Last played it in the middle of May, if you can believe it. So it's going off of what is no doubt an older build, but I'm also going off of memories that are a little bit dated. So, just understand that things could change, and my memory of smaller details might not be 100%.
That's perfectly fine.
Just keep that in mind. Alright, so let's begin with probably the most commonly asked questions. I'm gonna just group a bunch of...
So the cyberspace levels, and they actually don't really show much of the gameplay in this video except for it was like the Nintendo Direct teaser we saw the other day, which it's a little bit strange. I mean, is that going to be... Will they eventually show us more gameplay on cyberspace, or I guess Sega's choosing to... It's weird that they're keeping it hidden. I hope we get to see more of it as it gets closer to release, obviously.
These together, and let's talk about cyberspace. What I think I'm going to do is talk about this generally first before addressing specific questions about cyberspace.
All right.
I got to play 4 levels. You see 2 of them in that Nintendo Direct trailer. One of them...
So, and I'm glad he's actually addressing this. And since a lot of people see that this is something you don't see a lot of the reviewers or Sega doing very often, which is just addressing the concerns right away. It's like, hey, they know that cyberspace is a big thing, so he's like trying to address it, initially. And I noticed another detail here. So I just paused and it's like, we got rings. Okay, we got red star rings here. Okay, so confirmed red star rings are going to be collectibles in this level. And as I'm just looking at this screenshot, we saw this earlier. This has been revealed already. We got dash pads, rings, a ramp. Red star ring looks like a corkscrew spiral. And yeah, I don't know. It's like a lot of it looks like scenery. It seems very linear so far. I hope that's not the case. But we will definitely see what he says.
Them is modeled after Green Hill Zone, and that's actually the very first thing that you get to play when you jump into Sonic Frontiers. There's an opening cutscene, and then you get thrown into Cyberworld, and you do that Green Hill Zone. Basically.
Okay, already I don't like that. Because, like, remember how Forces Open? It was just, you jump in, and then boom, right away, it's like, It's like there's just Green Hill. Right? It's like, yeah, I get it. Green Hill's a good opening stage. It's iconic. People associate it with Sonic, but like it would be fine if you just like woke up in the open world and you were just kind of there. But it just it's like, oh, we have to open with the familiar Sonic platform. It's like if you're going all out with that sense of mystery, then go all out. I mean, maybe that changes. Who knows? But there was something else he said. He said he got to play 4 of the stages.
Cyberspace. What I think I'm going to do is talk about this generally first before addressing specific questions about cyberspace. I got to play 4 levels.
All right.
You see 2 of them in that Nintendo Direct trailer. One of them is modeled after Green Hill
Okay,
Zone.
4 levels.
That's actually the very first thing that you get to play when you jump into Sonic Frontiers. There's an opening cutscene, and then you get thrown into Cyber World, and you do that Green Hill Zone, basically. The second one is...
All right, this screenshot looked cool. So this is the... He just said it's called the Highway Zone, is what you're going to hear him say. And we've got, like, all the symbols from that we've been seeing throughout... like I think these are I don't think this is any specific language. It's like the symbols we see throughout like all the ruins and like Frontiers and everything. This stage looks, I mean, it looks like relatively original so far. Like I said, a lot of people were comparing it to Distorted Speed Highway. I was getting some Empire City vibes. I kind of like the realism they're going with here. The cars are kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, like how realistic the cars actually look, which is a little bit jarring almost. I like the effects of the highways in the background. The fact that it's like sped up cars zooming along them at nighttime. That's like a cool effect. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm just like, this looks like a very cool aesthetic. But again, it's like my hope is that it's not going to be a linear stage. Like I'm hoping these stages. It's all right if like a Green Hill, I guess, is. I'm hoping it's opened up a bit more, but my hope is that the stages are overall, like as it progresses more and more, we get less and less linearity and a lot more options to explore like a more vast 3D world. So I don't know, time will tell, but not sure if it'll tell us anything here.
Highway Zone that you see, which is probably like my favorite one that I got to play.
Mm-hmm.
That one was just awesome. There was one that was modeled after Chemical Plant Zone, and then there was one that was kind of like a Sky Temple. I don't really remember if it was based off of any
Sky Sanctuary. You really you don't remember?
Temple. I don't really remember if it was based off of any prior Sonic games. It might have, but it's been a little while since I've played some of the older 3D Sonic games. So to
3D Sonic games? Sonic Origins was just released recently, and that was where Sky Sanctuary debuted. You really missed that one? All right. I mean, it's, and I guess, whatever. Moving on, I guess.
A while since I've played some of the older 3D Sonic games. So to answer the question from Flame Kit Fox about the length of the cyberspace levels, to me they felt a bit short.
Okay, what was this question now?
Cyberspace.
How long are they? And are there any original themed ones? Okay, this is a good question.
Levels, to me they felt a bit short, and
that's not what we wanted to hear. How long?
I say that because I believe I beat most, if not all of them, within 2 minutes, even on like...
You're not serious.
I say that because I believe I beat most, if not all of them, within 2 minutes, even on like...
2 minutes. It's gonna be Force's length, isn't it? Come on, Sega. Oh my god. That likely means linearity. Oh, say it ain't so. I'm hoping it's just because it was like the earlier stages and he was just more exploring and not really getting very far. I'm hoping that later levels will be longer. It's okay if like the first 2 or something are 2 minutes, but like I hope they put a little more effort than that. Like, come on, like 3 to 5 minutes should be like the minimum in terms of like quality and competent level design for a 3D Sonic game. This is ridiculous. Like, come on now. Anyway, continue.
Like my first try, and usually these 3D Sonic levels, they focus on different beats. You go from a
the 3D Sonic levels, and we focus on colors. A colors ultimate of all things.
really fast boost section to a 2D
Oh
section
no,
and then
2D
back to a
confirmed?
3D section.
Please no.
Whereas the levels in Sonic Frontiers felt pretty focused on one or two things. You would
Okay.
start off, it would be a boost focused section, then you'd go onto a rail, and then you'd go onto like a little platforming bit until you're back into a boost section, and
Platforming.
then you get to the end of the level. So they
Okay. So that's a plus that I didn't actually mention any 2D sections for the cyberspace levels. But the disadvantage becomes, and I think I saw Premi cover this on one of his videos, the idea that if it's just straight 3D sections, if it's just 3D but running in a straight line, they're not exploring the 3D space. Like if it's just top, middle, and bottom, top, middle, and bottom path, then it's like, okay, but then it just becomes like lane changing and temple run. Then that's just Sonic Forces Speed Battle or Sonic Dash in 3D, and that's arguably even worse. It's like fully 3D doesn't mean just fully 3D perspective. Like actually give us the freedom to explore. Like it's open world, right? So, and even in the action stages in like adventure games, like levels, they reflected that. And I mean, even though you were running in a straight line with Unleashed, it was like the levels still like bent and changed, and they were like pathways to go off of. Like there was like in Empire City, even like you could just sort of loop around the normal area and go off a quick time event trick jump ramp, or you could like homing attack a few more enemies and the camera would change, and you're like, hey, there's this hidden path which with another homing attack enemy and then a light speed dash, and that lets you skip that entire section. And you had to like explore for that one. Like, that was good. That's good level design. So all right, what else you got for us?
they felt shorter, but I don't really mean that in a negative way. I think they were actually
what do you mean you don't mean that in a negative way? Like how are we not supposed to take that negatively? Like, I mean, you're trying not to be negative, but you're talking to Sonic fans here, man. Like, we just want some levels that have actual depth and length to them, like some competent design. That's what we're looking for here.
then you get to the end of the level. So they felt shorter, but I don't really mean that in a negative way. I think they were actually just long enough where I wanted to keep on retrying them so I can get those goals. I mentioned this also in my preview.
Keep on retrying. Go. Don't tell me. I'll let him say what he's going to say next, but I can already tell where this is going.
Every level has 5 goals, and every time you achieve a goal, you get a vault key, which allows you to unlock the Chaos Emeralds.
Okay.
So, I played 4 hours of Sonic Frontiers, but honestly, most of that time was kind of spent in cyberspace because I'm the kind of person when I play a Sonic game where I wanna strive for those S ranks.
Okay, I already know what he's talking about. So, did he say 5 goals? Let me go back. Did he say 5 goals?
Has 5 goals.
Yep.
Every time.
Okay. So this is going to be clear the stage with an S rank, get all 5 red star rings. Those are going to be the 3. That's fine. They should just limit it to 3, increase the length of the stages, and put like more stages in, so we have more content. Like, I can tell you what the other 2 goals are going to be. Like, because they're using Lost World Engine. Like the first 3 goals, it's like clear the stage, S rank, all red rings. That's fine. I swear to God, dude. I swear to God. If the last 2 challenges are get the 5 number panels like from Lost World, and then get if they bring back like the timer moon medals again, the moon medallions, like no, don't just reuse those for forces. Like, oh yeah, this was another interesting way. Those are at like one specific part of the stage, and you're just running through the stage. Like the first time you'll get S rank and clear the stage, you'll get those 2 most likely, right? Because the stages are going to be easy enough, right? Then you're going to most likely get some of the red rings, but you'll take an alternate path to get the other one. 2 playthroughs is good enough, but then they'll make you do 2 more just to get the number panels and the red rings. You might even have to play it 5 times or at least 4 times because it's like clear with S rank. If you could do all the goals at once, great. But like, you're gonna have to, even if they do this ideally, you're gonna have to play it at least 4 times because there's most likely gonna be, getting the S rank, 1 path with the red rings, or some alternate paths to get all the red rings. A singular path for the number panels and a singular path for the moon medallions. It's like, that's what it's going to be. Like 2 times is plenty. That's enough. And I'm fine with playing a stage twice, maybe even 3 times. But like, but after it gets like 3 times and you're just going back, it's like, where was that section I missed? Like, I really hope that's not what they're doing. But the fact that they've been basically treating Lost Worlds engine like it's the best thing ever, it's already problematic. And on that issue, I want to talk about something else: the story. They've also mentioned, like, what is it? The Sonic, Tails, and Amy go to explore the Starfall Islands to investigate the disappearance of the Chaos Emeralds, right? And the thing is, it's like they do that. Then they're flying in Tails' plane. The plane has trouble. They crash land, and then boom, Sonic's in the first level. It's like, is that not just the intro to Lost World? Like, I'm seeing comparisons between Lost World and Boom with some aspects here, and that's not really the best thing to be taking from. Like, Sega shouldn't be reusing that. It's like it's like, they're hinting at, like, oh yeah, we know you guys like adventure, but all you're referencing is lyrics. Reference the games themselves. How many times do we have to tell you? Like, learn from this, please. Don't act like the 2000s never happened. Like, there is good stuff from that. Please, like, just when it seems like they're leaning towards, like, ooh, let's pull from, like, our good catalog of 3D games, and then just like nope, we're gonna have to do the safe stuff because then the younger fans might not like it. The younger fans are gonna be fine. They'll be happy just to play Sonic. Like, you have, like, your consistent fans, the ones who are keeping the franchise alive, and the ones who are making all the fan games that are keeping Sonic relevant this whole time are like the longtime fans. You have a market there, and they like the classic games, and they like the 2000 Sonic games, Adventure, Heroes, darker stories. Like, and the story, I am interested in that. That's probably going to be. I'm pretty confident it's going to be good, but we'll have to see what they do with Flynn. But anyway, like, how much freedom they give Flynn. But okay, rant over on that one. I just, it's important we emphasize that. There's not much we can do to change it at this point, but I'm hoping that the fact that we have been emphasizing this for years past, that they've listened to at least some of that. And, they realize that, like, the younger fans, it's not going to take much to, like, please them. And me, I'm a reasonable guy. I just want Sonic to control well. I want competent level design, and I want a good story. And arguably, like, replay value in the game, which means supersonic gameplay, but they've been doing that right. But, it's really not that much. I went over this in a previous video regarding, like, just the 5 things that adventure fans want and why it would literally satisfy both classic and modern fans as well. But anyway, that's for a different video. Moving on with this.
You achieve a goal, you get a vault key, which allows you to unlock the Chaos Emeralds. So,
Emeralds blocked behind vault keys.
I played 4 hours of Sonic Frontiers, but honestly, most of that time was kind of spent in cyberspace because I'm the kind of person when I play a Sonic game where I wanna strive for those S ranks. I wanna strive for getting those goals. So I would keep on retrying until I get, like, the level down pat. To me, that's the most fun I have when I play a Sonic game. It's that feeling of mastering a level and getting through it without slow.
I mean, it's fair, but again, Mr. Saltzman's definition of perfection may be different from a lot of us longtime Sonic fans. But I'll give him that. What he's saying makes sense, but it depends on what his mentality is on that. But most of what he's saying regarding those levels, it's like, yeah, that's fine. I would do that too. I agree with that.
Slowing down. So I really strove to kind of get that experience every time I played one of these cyberspace levels. So for me, I actually kind of like the shorter length, especially when considered the fact that it's not the full game. The cyberspace is not the whole game. It is this mix of the open zone exploration, everything that they can do there, along with these cyberspace levels. So
I think what he's talking about is, like, there's the open zone exploration, and then the cyberspace levels are like the quote traditional Sonic levels, but they're not traditional because it's just boosting levels, and that's frankly kind of obnoxious. I wish they'd use more adventure influence in the actual levels themselves. But then again, it's like, if the shorter length is like they're designing them more like special stages, but it's areas from Sonic's past, or like some original designs too, which we hope so, like the highway. I don't know, but yeah, it's like. If they're saying there's like some open exploration in these levels too, that's great. But I think he's just saying it's the open zone and it's the levels, which is kind of a bummer. But hopefully there's still some fun to be had with the levels. I don't know yet. We don't know much about them.
So yeah, in short, The levels are short, but I also don't think it's a huge problem. And then, as for the second part
We'll
of this
see.
question, are they closer to
This,
those?
we don't think it's a huge problem, but like honestly, like we'll be the judge of that because you have to take into account the fact that like Unleashed levels, another Boost Sonic game, those levels were like way longer. Generations levels were like what 3 to 5 minutes. Like and the fact that he said they were like 1 to 2 minutes. A lot of other YouTubers have talked about the fact that it could be that since we've seen IGN's gameplay, it's like does that mean that a minute and 30 to like 1 minute because these levels be only like 1 minute long for like seasoned players? Just that really worries me because if they're like 1 minute long levels, that's a major problem. It's like they have an easier time like actually placing objects in the level, and like if they're going for aesthetic, that's one thing. But even still, it's like they've had 4 years, 5 years with this game now. There is no excuse, and not only that, but especially with everything that's come before, which is miles better than what we've seen in like 3D Sonic games in the last decade. But anyway, okay. So next question here. Okay, how's the level design in cyberspace? Is it linear? Are they closer to Unleashed, Gens, or Forces? Any 2D settings? All right, so this is a good question.
Of Unleashed Generations or Forces. I guess it's more similar to Unleashed and Generations because of the fact that there's no wisps. There's no wisps. Wisps is
Well, okay, I guess it's good that there's no wisp, but like, I mean, like that's you're saying it's Unleashed in Gens just because there's no wisps? That's the only reason? He asked about level design. Like he's not talking about like a singular level gimmick. He's talking about overall. Okay, let's see if he explains it more.
still a very hard word for me to say.
Go on,
It's
get on
just
with
kind
it.
of purely focused on that modern boost focused 3D Sonic experience.
Not what I wanted to hear, but okay. If it's like, you know, if the levels are more along the lines of if the levels are more along the lines of like Unleashed length and like the boosting Sonic sort of works. It's like if the levels are built around the more linear Sonic, I guess it can work. But my thing is like, I don't know. It's like I would have wanted to see more momentum based gameplay, or I guess we don't want to overuse that word. So like keeping up with on par with what Supersonic 68 had said in the Tails channel interview, Genesis style slope or rolling physics is what we want to see, and he was saying they likely won't be able to implement it into Frontiers or like as much as we would want. But I mean, I don't know. I guess it's like because of the there's a lot to do with the combat system. Maybe it'll be okay, but like I don't know. I still would want to see more than just the generic 3D boost because that's not traditional. I don't want that to be the only levels like the only level style in a 3D Sonic game, and to me that gets boring, and I'm tired of seeing it. But maybe that's a preference thing, but I think a lot of fans would agree with that sentiment as well.
As for the 2D sections, actually, I didn't get to play it, but my colleague Jeffrey Vega,
Oh.
who played about 2 hours of the game, he went a different way in the open zone and ended up finding a cyberspace level that I didn't find. And he said that it was entirely 2D focused. So,
Oh God. All right. So if these levels are all 1 to 2 minutes, he went a different way in the open zone. He found a different level, and it was entirely 2D focused. Yeah, that's a problem because 3D Sonic does not look right from the 2D perspective because it's like the reason that classic or Genesis Sonic works is because the sprites are like bright and colorful and it's easy to see. It's not as easy to see 3D Sonic because he sort of blends in with the environment. It's just like I don't know. I mean, even though it's like in here, it's like to a degree, like in this environment, he sort of sticks out like a sore thumb, but it's just whatever. An entirely focused 2D level. See, if the levels are 1 to 2 minutes, that's bad. And if there's entirely 2D focused levels, what that means is they're going to reuse ideas from Forces. They're going to reuse those like extra levels where it was just a 1 minute challenge and it's just like generic blocks placed and they seem like they're not part of the environment. And it's just like dodging a bunch of like, enemies or like, fire traps or spike traps or like, swinging spike balls. And like that's what it's going to end up being. And it's, I really really hope they reconsider that, and that was just like an idea they were like testing. I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind one or two here and there, but I'm really hoping that we don't see a lot of those. And I'm really hoping the level length is longer, but not sounding too promising so far with the cyberspace levels.
I think they're gonna mix it up a good amount with the cyberspace levels in this game.
Yeah, but that's mixing it up in a bad way.
Another thing that a lot of people really wanted to know about is momentum. And
Okay, momentum, and then what we mean by this is as again as Supersonic 68 has emphasized, don't call it momentum just because of like the language barrier and translation and everything. Call it like Genesis style slope physics or Genesis style rolling or I guess momentum physics. I just use momentum and physics in the same sentence. It's okay. Genesis style rolling physics. That just to keep it simple. That would be, it's momentum is just like an easier word, I guess, but like say it in a way that I guess the devs would understand what we're talking about. Like that's what we want to see. Like the physics that we've and I've shown it in it's present in Adventure. It's like pulled from the classics and it's done right in Adventure, and it's like that's what we're hoping to see. But I think later in the video with what we see, it's like he mentioned that that's probably not going to be the case. But yeah, we'll see what he talks about here.
and I feel a little bad about this one because I honestly didn't really think about it. Uh,
It's okay.
Sonic's control felt fine to me. At the very least, it wasn't noticeably different from other boost-centric Sonic games, especially in the cyberspace.
Not noticeably different from other boost centric Sonic games. But we don't want boost centric Sonic games. That is the main problem here. It's like the control felt fine, but like the fact that he's calling it boost centric is an issue. But it's like okay, I mean, I guess we have like better turning radius, but they kind of had to do that for combat. I'm just hoping they blend it right. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it a million times if I have to. If you start with Boost Sonic as the base gameplay style, it's almost guaranteed to be doomed to fail from the start. That's why I don't really like Infinity Engine as much. It's a better version of like Boost Sonic gameplay, or the ideal in a sense. But like yeah, it has adventure moves on top of it, but you need to start with adventure moveset as the base because that's closest to classic Sonic's moveset in 3D, and then stack boost moves on top of it. Because then it's like we get to the point where like, oh, then Sonic might control like a race car, so we have to give him like drift and quick step on use 4 buttons for those, and we could use it for something else. But I mean, because of the combat system, it feels like they were forced to actually use all of the controller, which is a plus. But we'll see what else he has to say.
Space levels. It's true that it doesn't really matter what speed Sonic hits a rail at, he'll still grind it all the same,
Yeah,
but
well,
I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Now, there were definitely some weird moments, like I mentioned in the preview, where I was fighting the Asura boss, and I would run up the arm, and despite feeling like I should have enough momentum to
let
reach
me
the
let me
head,
go back to
I
what he
would
was saying.
thing. Now, it's true that it doesn't really matter what speed Sonic hits a rail at, he'll still grind it all the same, but I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
Yes, it is a bad thing. I'm sorry. Like it's like with 1 or 2 rails, I guess it's tolerable, but like I don't know. The idea of gravity taking effect and like you have just look, people want back the gravity and the feeling of speed gain that you had with SA2 rail grinding and Heroes rail grinding. That's what we want to see. We want to have that kind of a feel with rail grinding. And it's like it was shown in clips of Unleashed, like gravity took effect there. It's just like even just like Unleashed rail grinding, like that would be better because at least like there would be physics to that, actual gravity and physics. And yes, it is a problem. It depends, I guess, on the level design and how it is, but I don't know. I feel like that is still a problem because it it's not like it won't be a problem. He's saying it won't be a problem, and it's probably because the rails are designed in very generic and uninteresting ways. But the idea they are not seeing the bigger picture here. If Sega designs rail momentum or rail like gravity taking effect on the rails and having that account for some of your speed in the games, if they do that, then it opens up to like a whole new world of like designing rails better because then they have to sort of design it around that. And I feel like that's better. They should design it that way, but I don't know, they're probably not going to. But anyway,
Now, there were definitely some weird moments, like I mentioned in the preview, where I was fighting the Asura boss, and I would run up the arm, and despite feeling like I should have enough momentum to reach the head, I would kind of just fly upwards and not have enough forward momentum to lock onto the head, and I would just kind of, fall back down to the ground. But to me, that felt more like an issue with the boss itself rather than an overall problem with momentum. So yeah.
Okay, well that's just something like. So he's saying he shoots all the way up and then he just falls back to the ground because his forward momentum wasn't enough. I don't know. But from all the clips we saw, it looked like you can just double jump and have enough speed and you're fine. I guess. I don't know. That seems like something they could likely fix with movement. Anyway, what's he saying now?
I wish I had a better answer for you than, the momentum didn't really bother me all that much, or, it feels very similar to.
That's honestly, it's predictable. That's all I can say about that. It's a predictable answer.
Other 3D boost-centric Sonic games, but, that's kind of where I'm at with.
And this is the problem. Stop making them boost-centric, Sega. Talking to Sega now. Like, stop making them boost-centric. We don't want boost-centric. It's a flawed design in 3D from the start. It's bad for Sonic's physics. Build the boost on top of it so he doesn't control like a freaking race car. It's not that complex. Like they strayed away from the adventure style, the classic style momentum in 3D games for so long that they've forgotten how to do it, and they need to remember how to do it. And I don't know if they're going to do it in Frontiers, and that's what's bothering me the most so far. The combat system is interesting. The turning radius is better. If the sense of speed is good, then like okay, but like I feel like they still need that those rolling physics back. They need the Genesis style physics in 3D, and there was a time they did it right. They haven't done it for a while, but it's not like they've never done it right. They have done it right. They just decided like, oh, well, that wasn't good because there were things that were wrong with this game. It's like, yeah, but you didn't have to take everything out of the game because some of those things were good. Whatever.
Momentum right now. Those were the two big ones that kept coming up, so I kind of wanted to group them all together. But now let's look at some more targeted questions. Lone Speedster DX asked, how does the combat work in Frontiers? The starting combo seems to be that punch and kick string.
This is interesting.
But how do any of the special attacks work? So the way it works is that when you homing attack onto something, you'll do the little punch kick combo.
Right.
And then on the last hit, you'll kind of kick yourself away and you'll come back down to the ground. There are a couple of upgrades that you can get in the skill tree that add some sort of new attack to the end of that string. So that's where you see like this move and then this move.
Whoops. All right. Hold on a second. Of course, there has to be an ad. All right. Give me a second, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and just block the screen and mute audio for a second while this plays. One moment. Okay. Well, hopefully that's good. Let us go ahead and just go back to what we missed here.
And then on the last hit, you'll kind of kick yourself away and you'll come back down to the ground. There are a couple of upgrades that you can get in the skill tree that add some sort of new attack to the end of that string. So that's where
Blue Tornado.
Like this move and then this move.
That's the light speed attack.
This is one of those things where, like, don't quote me on this because, again, I played this a month and a half ago.
Right.
But I think that there is a combo counter. I think you get rewarded with, like, a certain kind of power-up mode if you do a bunch of hits without getting hit. So there is a reward for being careful.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a newer piece of information. There, you get rewarded for getting. Okay, so there's a combo counter, and if you do enough, I guess, chained hits in a row without getting hit. So if you're strategic about it, then what did he say? You get a powered up state?
Again, I played this a month and a half ago, but I think that there is a combo counter. I think you get rewarded with like a certain kind of power up mode if you.
So he's referring to elements he saw in the HUD, and at power up mode.
There is a combo counter. I think you get rewarded with like a certain kind of power up mode if you do a bunch of hits without getting hit. So there is.
Okay, a power up mode if you do a bunch of hits without getting hit. That's interesting. See, the combat seems to be the main appeal, and I'm glad they seem to be doing that right so far. I am interested in that. And like the idea that there seems to be like a combo counter, a meter technique. It seems like you get this powered up move when you do enough hits, is what he's saying. I hope that's actually kept in the game. So that's a plus, Sega. We would want something like that. That's good. So a bunch of hits when you get okay, all right. So you get a bunch of hits in a row without getting hit, and then you can get into like a powered up state. So it's like that seems like you could achieve sort of a flow state. It's like you get this powered up state. So like a new way of getting chaos boost, perhaps. Maybe Sonic gets like a new move like Lightspeed attack. Like that'd be really cool. But yeah, no, that's definitely good. So all right, that's a new piece of information. That's interesting. So yeah, hopefully that's actually in the final game. Um, he was probably seeing that on the HUD, so hopefully that's in the last game, in the final game, the final product. We'll see how that goes.
It's a reward for being careful um, with regards to knowing when to lay off your attack and when the opponent is about to strike back. You can use a dodge to get out of the way. Dodges are on the L1 and R1 buttons, so you can just
okay. So they're on the dodges are on the bumpers confirmed. It's like don't commit to like the final hits of an attack and like dodge at the right time based on enemies. That we deduced all of that, so that seems like a fair analysis. So bumpers confirmed to be the dodge buttons.
The way if something's about to attack you, you can use parries, you can lock on.
Okay, so the parry, and I think we've said since the bumpers are both dodge, they're dodge and quick step, I guess. Then both of them, I think, in leaks, it was said that both bumpers were a parry, so that's kind of interesting. We'll see if that's true. I hope that's the case. And I don't know I don't think he talks about like how the parry works, but it's like I don't know if it's you tap them at the right time or you hold them right before. Either way is probably fine. I would just be interested to know more about how it works.
Another one of the abilities that you can get is that kick attack. You can see right here where you kick a bunch of sound waves and it looks really.
And yeah, this attack looks really cool. The like breakdancing like wind blade kick thing. I guess it could be called the spin slash. Like that was I think a name that was leaked. And like the loop that he does, the ribbon loop thing around the enemies, we thought it was called Spin Cycle, but I think it was renamed to Cy Loop, but it's spelled CY, like Cyber Loop. So I guess it's kind of interesting. Cy Loop, ribbon loop. The comparisons are all over, but so Windblade Kick would be a much cooler name for this. Spin Slash is okay, but I think from what he said, this is an upgradable item. I hope this is not just a limit item. I hope you can do this sort of like as like one of your ults that you get like more frequently. So did he say it was like in the skill tree?
You can just quickly get out of the way if something's about to attack you. You can use parries. You can lock on. Another one of the abilities that you can get is that kick attack. You can see right here.
Abilities you can get.
Kick a bunch of sound waves and it looks really awesome. That's generally how combat works. It's
okay.
Not, it's not. This isn't Devil May Cry. I think the real test for the
It's not Devil May Cry, but I mean, hey, I wouldn't mind if they're like referencing that. Like Sonic's moves seem more anime-like with his attacks. So, like you're saying, oh, this is DMC, but I'm like, are we forgetting the fact that Shadow had a homing attack combo in 06? Like, you homing attack, and then there's the chaos attack where you can do up to 5 more hits to like tear down health. Like Sonic has had enemies that have had health before, and he's needed to deal multiple hits. So he's done this before. It's like it's like you don't have to like reference other games at the time that are like that. Sonic has done these things before. People have just like don't just forget about the 2000s as if they didn't happen. Like that's a personal thing that annoys me, but like he's done this before. Like he's had elements of this, and frankly, it's been good, and he should bring them back.
Combat of this game will be enemy variety. There were a handful of enemies that all were a bit different, and I had to fight them a little bit differently in order to defeat them. But it's really going to be a matter of if they can keep on introducing new enemy types that keep having new and interesting ways to deal with them. And I think that's going to be the real test of whether combat is going to be exciting in the open world. I mean,
that one, I personally don't think it's an issue. Combat already looks relatively exciting and engaging. Obviously not the most engaging thing ever, but not going to lie, look, that I'm not too worried about. The combat I'm actually relatively excited for.
I mean, excuse me, open zone. What does collecting
those little you can say open. You can say open world. That's fine. That's what it is. I'm starting to understand the idea of why they're saying open zone more, because it's like the cyberspace levels are the special stages, I guess, and like it's saying open zone because it's like the whole open world is like the islands are like the level themselves, and there's like they're sort of presenting like an act 1 act 2 type structure, but it's all one big act maybe. And I don't know, maybe the fact that there's more to do it's better, but I don't know, it's going to depend on like how open it is, and how well, how open it is isn't the issue. It's more like what is present, like how many things is there something to keep my interest at all times in this open world. That's what we're looking for. All right, next. So what is collecting those little rock guys do? The Cocos, I think, the ones that look like Chow, I guess. So
You asked Vincent_mate. So collecting those little rock guys, it's kind of like Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild, where like you solve a really simple puzzle, you find a Korok seed. You do kind of the same thing in Sonic Frontiers. And what they do is that somewhere on the island is like this elder rock guy.
I think he just passed him.
You do kind of the same thing in Sonic Frontiers. And what they do is that
right there, this dude right here. This looks like that. Is this the elder that he's talking about? So anyway, you collect puzzles and they appear or they're hidden around. All right.
Somewhere on the island is like this elder rock guy, and if you get enough little rock guys, I wish I could remember the name for them right now. I'm sorry, again,
Cocos.
A month and a half ago. If you get enough of those little rock guys and you bring them back to the elder, he will either upgrade your speed or upgrade your maximum rings.
Okay, all right. So that was something I saw in a leak, or it's information that has been revealed at this point. Yes, I do remember. It's like bringing the Cocos, I think they're called, to the Elder. It was confirmed that he can upgrade either your speed or your rings. And I think, what was it at the bottom left corner in a leaked screenshot? It was like, what were the 4 aspects that Sonic can upgrade? It was sort of a secret rings or Black Knight type upgrade system where it was like speed, attack, defense, and maximum rings or health, basically, which is good. That, as long as the upgrade system isn't grindy and Sonic doesn't feel too slow or weak initially, it's probably fine. If they scale it right, that's something that could work really well. Like, it wasn't a failed idea to put this in a Sonic game, but it wasn't done right in Secret Rings. Better in Black Knight, but it could be expanded upon.
Carry. And you may be like, well, I understand, why I would want to upgrade my speed, obviously, but why would I want to upgrade my maximum rings?
No, I understand, because that's health. Go
on. When you get hit in Sonic Frontiers, you don't just drop all your rings. You drop 40 rings. It's a set amount.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So you drop only a set amount of rings, not all of them. It's like a health thing where you lose some health. So you drop 40 rings, he said? It looked like 20, but okay. So it says you drop 40 rings. That's interesting. So it's only a set amount at a time. That makes sense for this. I'm glad they're doing that, so I'm glad that's confirmed. That's a positive for the design.
Every time. And if you're able to collect 400 rings, I believe the cutoff is 400 rings, you're able to activate this like super blue boost that envelops Sonic in like this awesome blue aura. He's able to go even faster on his boosts, and
blue boot like boost, like actual boosting through enemies, or like a chaos boost, like a boosted state. 400 rings and a super blue boot. Hold on, let me go back to that.
400 rings. You're able to activate this like super blue boost that envelops Sonic in like this awesome blue aura. He's able to go even faster on his boosts, and he goes extremely fast. If you thought that Sonic Frontiers isn't fast enough, just trust me. It's once you get this blue boost, he moves plenty fast.
Okay, well, it depends on. See, what I'm thinking about based on what he's describing, when you have 400 rings, is that like a thing with Link, like at max health, like in Legend of Zelda, where it's like when you have maximum health, you can like shoot a projectile from the Master Sword or something like that? Like swinging your sword, you can actually shoot like a beam of energy? Is this like that equivalent for Sonic? When you have maximum health, you're able to, or max rings at this point, but it's like a health system. So if you have max health, are you able to gain this boosted state as long as you don't take damage? That's actually a pretty good idea. I like the idea of that. If it helps like enhance the combat and the overall movement, that's a definite plus. But if it's just like, ooh, big fast temporary boost, but if it stays as long as you keep max rings, then I like that. That's a good change. That's definitely a good idea. But we have to know more about it. But If it is what I'm thinking, then it's great. If it's just a temporary boost, kind of stupid, but we'll see.
And I wish I had footage of it because it was one of the cooler things that I got to experience in my playtime. Sonic.
Yeah, that would have been nice if you if you got footage of that. That's you really didn't think we would have wanted to see, like, I mean, I guess we saw a good bit, but even still, it's like, man, it seems kind of incompetent that you didn't think to do that. But whatever, moving on. First 4 hours of playing Frontiers, were you given the freedom to explore the first Starfall Island from the get-go, or were there points where you strictly had to follow a story path?
Like Rich says, in your first 4 hours playing Frontiers, were you given the
story
freedom
question.
to explore the first Starfall Island from the get-go,
Progression
or were there
question.
points where you strictly had to follow the story path? No, you're pretty much able to go wherever you want when you first land on Starfall Island.
That's kind of nice.
Obviously, there is a main quest that you are constantly reminded of.
Progress things as you want.
But,
all right.
You're able to just go off in a direction. There's a bunch of puzzles to solve to open up your map. The map will tell you where Chaos Emeralds are. You'll be able to find more puzzles to open up more of the map. So there's actually a lot to do in the open zone. There's a bunch of collectibles to find, the aforementioned rock guys that you can grab. It doesn't really funnel you towards a certain path. You're kind of free to take on that critical path whenever you want. All right, lightning round time. Let's do a bunch of them really quick. Was there any form of spin dash or rolling?
Okay, important question. Any form of spin dash, rolling, basically asking about momentum. Can we roll in the game?
In his base moveset or the skill tree? No, but there is a drop dash. Was the light...
Well, that's depressing. No rolling, but there is a drop dash. Probably more of a combat thing. If the drop dash is a combat thing and not a momentum thing, I hope you can use it for both, but the idea that rolling's not there, that's... Really? Nothing else you got to say about that?
A certain path. You're kind of free to take on that critical path whenever you want. All right, lightning round time. Let's do a bunch of them really quick.
Okay.
Was there any form of spin dash or rolling, albeit in his base moveset or the skill tree? No, but there is a drop dash. Was the...
All right, well, drop dash is there. I mean, he only played 4 hours. Maybe you eventually unlock it. Maybe he didn't go up a path where you can unlock it. Who knows? Okay, well, this one's kind of... Was the lightspeed dash present at all? It references to adventure. Like, can we actually lightspeed dash? Because it's been a while since we've seen that.
Lightspeed dash present at all? Yes. Is there a chow...
Yes. And I heard another leak. This was linked to clicking in the left stick. Now, I got mixed opinions on this, because I'm like, if it's click left stick, that feels awkward when you're running. But on the other hand, it's like, well, they're using so many other face buttons for combat. I guess that kind of makes sense as well. So it's like... It just feels like they could have mapped things better, but, because they probably used, like, maybe one thing could be quick step and you, like, hold a direction to sort of quick step or dodge in stages, because you would only need one button for dodge. You could use another one of the bumpers, or, well, I don't know. If that's how you parry, I guess it's like, whatever. We'll just roll with it. Okay, Chow Garden. Is there a Chow Garden or at least Chow in the game? Because we heard Chow sounds.
Or at least Chow in the game. I can't speak for the whole game, but in the 4 hours that I played, not a single Chow was seen. From what...
Boo! Boo! Okay, well, that's unfortunate. So I guess it looks like the Cocos are Chow replacements, which is frankly kind of sad, but, whatever. All right, how was the music? All right, this is interesting.
When I played, how was the music? It was good. One of the first things that me and Jeffrey talked about when we got out of our...
Wait, he kind of ignored the second one. Did it say if it was it implemented in the game free running into combat scenarios? Let's see if he talks about that.
Our demo was how much we enjoyed the music. So it's not it's not Crush 40, but it's very fitting, and it sounds nice in my ears. All right, that is going to do it for me, and that is going to do it for...
Wait, that's it?
One of the first things that me and Jeffrey talked about when we got out of our demo was how much we enjoyed the music. So it's not, it's not Crush 40, but it's very fitting, and, it sounds nice in my ears.
All he basically said there was like, ooh, music good for open world, and, soundy good, hee. It's... No, he was asking... See how he's saying, like, free running into combat, like, did it amp up at the Well, now we're not going to have that one answered for a while, so great, whatever. I guess he did all right with answering it.
That is going to do it for me, and that is going to do it for our IGN first of the month of June for Sonic Frontiers. Thank you all so much for watching. Of course, if you missed any of our coverage, we've got a full hands-on preview. We've got an interview with director Kishimoto-san, an interview with Izuka-san, the head...
We covered the one with Izuka-san. I saw the one with Kishimoto. It was somewhat interesting, but there wasn't too much to talk about there. because we basically just, most of that information had already been, leaked on Twitter and discussed. He didn't really say much more that was that interesting. Kishimoto, like I saw him in the interview. He seemed like an all right dude, and some of the ideas he was talking about, like, I was on board with what he was saying. He didn't really give as much of a that sort of dashing like a maniac type impression with the game design and stuff. It seemed like he was more into story and having the gameplay revolve around that, with like based on how that interview was. So I mean that's a plus. So whatever. Um, but anyway, anything else he's gonna say? Any more we can look forward to?
Head of Sonic team, and over on IGN.com we have a written interview with Ian Flynn, the writer of Sonic Frontiers.
I wish
Thanks
they would
again
have
for
broadcast
watching,
that one.
and for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
All right. Well, that looks like all there is. That's all there is to it. Anyway, so yeah, no, I don't really have any more closing words. I pretty much discussed everything that I want to say. I guess I just want to emphasize, like, cyberspace levels not looking great so far, since we need to see it to know for sure. We need to see a full cyberspace level to know for sure, but already not sounding great, because if it's like 1 to 2 minutes, then that's not okay length. It's like, I get that's like designing everything and making sure it meshes well and making sure that there's enough content there. Maybe it will still feel okay. Maybe combat is what they are like banking on, combat and story, and that's okay, honestly. But if you're going to have those levels in there and you're going to have Sonic with a better sense of control, make these worlds more wide open. Like, make the levels, the cyberspace levels, more explorable. They don't have to just be linear, like bottom, middle, and top path. Like, use the full 3D space. Don't just make it running in a straight line. Please don't overdo the 2D sections. I'm fine with 1 or 2, but please don't overdo them. And we still need to see a full cyberspace level. 3 to 5 minutes is ideal. Using the full 3D space of a cyberspace level is ideal, since this is emphasized on open world and more control of Sonic. He's saying Sonic is plenty fast, so I hope that means he has a good sense of speed and control. And as you upgrade him throughout the adventure, it reflects that. And I guess we also need to see, and I hope this is eventually revealed, because I wouldn't want to have the story spoiled, but I would want to see how, say, a good solid half hour of gameplay goes with, like, we see a story cutscene, we go to with the open world, we get to enter a cyberspace level, and we get to see how long one full cyberspace level is, and maybe one more cutscene. Like those would be good impressions. That would give me enough to, like, convince me about, like, what the game is about. So Sega, if you're listening, half hour, like first half hour of gameplay, perhaps that would be kind of nice. Maybe as we get closer to release, they can reveal that. But anyway, let me know what you all think in the comments. I'm gonna see you guys either tomorrow or on Saturday. We'll probably be on Twitch streaming over at Lightning Thunderbolt Live, the Twitch channel. So anyway, hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you've been enjoying the content so far. Thank you so much for getting us to 800 subs. And here's to the next 100. We are so close to that magical 1,000. So I hope we are able to get there soon. Not that I overemphasize that, but I'm humbled by how much you guys enjoy the content. I'm humbled by continuing to get to do what I enjoy, and I hope y'all are enjoying it too. Anyway, Lightning Thunderbolt signing off. Thank you all for watching. I will put the link to the original video in the description as always. And as always, until next time, keep on staying way past cool.